Margaret Brewster had always been a night owl. Even at 71, she found herself watching old black and white films into the early hours, nursing a cup of weak tea, refusing to go to bed before midnight. She'd always said, "I've earned the right to stay up as late as I like." But lately, she'd started to question that. It wasn't just the fatigue that lingered in her bones each morning, or the brain fog that clung to her for hours after waking. It was the quiet concern in her daughter's voice. "Mum," Lila had said gently over lunch, "you're tired all the time. Maybe it's your sleep. Have you ever thought about going to bed earlier?" Margaret waved it off at first. "I sleep just fine." But that night, she woke at 3:10 a.m., tangled in sheets, heart thudding, thoughts racing. She padded to the kitchen, sipped water, looked at the glowing red digits on the microwave. She sat at the table and stared out into the dark, suddenly aware of how often this had been happening. At her next checkup, she brought it up. Dr. Reeves, a quiet man in his 50s with kind eyes and a clipboard always in hand, didn't dismiss her. "Actually," he said, "this is a very common thing I see in patients over 70. Your body clock shifts as you age. Sleep becomes lighter, and the timing of it matters more than ever." He explained that circadian rhythms, the internal body clocks, naturally shift forward with age. People over 70 often become tired earlier in the evening. And if they don't align with that shift, the body doesn't rest properly. Going to bed around 9 to 10 p.m. tends to work best, he said. If you push past that window, the brain starts releasing alertness hormones again, and then sleep becomes fragmented. Margaret blinked at him. "So you're saying staying up past midnight is like tricking my body into being awake?" "Exactly. Your body wants rest earlier. If you give it what it wants, it rewards you with deeper, more restorative sleep." That night, she tried it. She made herself a cup of chamomile at 8:30 p.m. and turned off the TV. She read a few pages of a book, nothing too exciting, and crawled into bed by 9:15. It felt strange. Her muscles were used to sitting upright, not lying still in the dark at that hour. But she fell asleep, not instantly, but more smoothly than usual. She woke at 6 a.m. Not groggy, not confused, clear-headed actually. The next night, she did it again, and again. Within a week, something had shifted. Her balance improved slightly. She wasn't catching herself on door frames like she had been. Her memory felt sharper. Words came faster in conversation. She was walking longer distances during her morning stroll. Even her appetite had returned in full. She returned to Dr. Reeves 3 weeks later and told him what had changed. He nodded, pleased. Sleep before midnight is packed with more slow-wave sleep, the kind that helps the brain and body heal. After 70, that's gold. And when your body starts releasing melatonin, usually around 8 or 9 p.m., it's telling you, now's the time. Margaret left that appointment feeling something she hadn't in months: in control. She started telling her friends. At the Thursday bridge game, she announced, "I've been going to bed at 9:30 every night, and I swear it's like I've knocked 10 years off my brain." Edna scoffed. "I haven't been to bed before midnight since Nixon resigned." But by the next week, 2 of the women had tried it and reported similar results. Soon, a few of them formed what they jokingly called the Bed by 10 Club. They'd message each other after dinner with sleepy selfies or silly emojis to mark the moment they were calling it a night. It became a game. But underneath it, something was changing. At the next town health fair, Dr. Reeves gave a short talk on sleep for seniors. Margaret sat in the front row. He explained how studies showed elderly adults who kept consistent early bedtimes had a lower risk of cognitive decline. He spoke of how heart health, blood pressure, even joint pain were all linked to deep sleep. That poor sleep made arthritis worse, made mood swings stronger, and worsened balance issues, one of the leading causes of falls in the elderly. Going to bed earlier, he said, isn't just about rest. It's about giving your brain and body the tools it needs to thrive in later life. Afterward, several people came up to Margaret and asked how she'd started. Routine, she told them. Same time every night. Lights low after dinner, no coffee past 3, no screens after 8. You set the stage, and your body does the rest. There were slip-ups, of course. Nights when she got caught up in a book. Nights when the old habits tugged at her, when she wanted to watch the late movie. But the days after were always harder. Sluggish, forgetful, tired in a way that sleep couldn't fix. Each time, she returned to her new rhythm, to the 9:30 bedtime, to the steady, deep sleep that came like a wave now instead of a trickle. And with each morning came clarity, energy, peace. One morning, months later, she sat at the kitchen table with her tea, still weak, just how she liked it, and a quiet thought crossed her mind. Aging isn't about giving things up. It's about learning what to hold on to. And for her, the key was simple. Sleep early, wake bright. The clock on the wall ticked on. She smiled, looked out the window, and began her day.